Do you feel like your Spanish learning routine, if it even can be called that, is all over the place? You're learning a little bit here and a little bit there, but it's just not coming together. It's not amounting to a conversation. If so, then there's no doubt that you need a study plan, but not just any study plan, a targeted one. Or maybe a lack of study plan is not the issue for you. Perhaps you have a plan, you know what you should be doing. Maybe you've made a gazillion plans before, but sticking to it is a whole other story. If so, then we clearly have a consistency issue. But regardless of which problem you may have, or maybe a little bit of both, I'm happy to let you know that we can solve both at the same time with my Spanish Study Plan Success Blueprint, which I'm about to show you right now. Comencemos, amigos. Hola mis queridos líderes del lenguaje, bienvenidos a otro video. Si es la primera vez que tú y yo nos estamos conociendo, te doy la bienvenida. Yo me llamo Erika. Aquí te ayudamos a aprender a hablar español con confianza y crear una rutina de aprendizaje irresistible a través de las historias y conversaciones auténticas. Si eso te parece interesante, pues suscríbete para no perderte de nada. This is going to be a little different because often when I talk about a study plan, I'm talking about the linguistic areas that it needs to include. I'm talking about making sure it's balanced and that you're including listening, reading, writing, speaking, and that you're starting with pronunciation, that you're learning grammar but keeping it in its place, that you're learning the vocabulary that you need. And of course, these are literally the elements that our plan has to be comprised of. But most of us know that, so why are we still having a problem creating a plan and, most importantly, sticking to it and actually seeing the results that we want? Well, that's where the Success Blueprint comes in. So the first element of our blueprint is a clear outcome-based goal and action steps to reach it. What is an outcome-based goal? How is that different than a regular goal? You know your goal is outcome-based when by the end of it you can say, this is what I can do now. Okay, this is an outcome. An example of a regular goal, it could be every day I'm going to read a chapter of my book, or every day I'm going to do a page in my textbook. Every day I'm going to do Duolingo. I have to maintain my streak. All right, so these are goals, but they're not outcome-based goals because we can't answer the question, okay, by the end of, let's say, a 2-week period, a month, a 90-day period, what am I going to be able to do with my Spanish? We don't know. We're just kind of leaving it up to chance. But an outcome-based goal is, okay, well, what I want to be able to do is to organize this event with my mother-in-law who doesn't speak much English. Or, in a few weeks' time, I really want to be comfortable with that common small talk type of Spanish that I need with my patients at work. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable while I'm able to make the English speakers feel comfortable and relaxed with the small talk. I want to learn how to do that in Spanish as well. These are outcome-based goals because we're answering the question, what am I going to be able to do by the end of this time period? Why is this important for the structure of your study plan? Well, after you have an outcome-based goal, and it only has to be just the next thing that you're working on, well, then you know what action steps you can take to reach it, or at least you can start to think about the possible action steps that you can take to reach it, and what needs to be included in your plan, what kind of vocabulary, what should you be listening to, what should you be reading? Who should you be practicing with? How often? These things start to become a little bit more clear once you know what is this next thing that you're wanting to work on. And of course, as you work on that outcome-based goal, your general Spanish is going to be increasing as well. Your general ability to put sentences together, the common words that you're going to need for every type of situation, all of that's increasing at the same time. And then the icing on top of the cake is that you are going to stay motivated, because the other part of this is that consistency factor. And it's a lot easier to stay motivated when we're learning something that we're about to use immediately now or next month or in a few weeks from now than just learning things that we would maybe hypothetically eventually possibly use our Spanish for. Or saying, yeah, when I get fluent, I'm going to be able to do this. When I get conversational, I'm going to be able to do this. You can get conversational on a topic relatively quickly and and be able to use that immediately and go from there. The next element of our success is frequent speaking practice with real people. Why is this important for the structure of our plan? Well, when we neglect this, or when we just don't put enough of it into our plan, we prolong the fear of speaking that we may have. We delay our potential progress because we could be learning the same things over and over and over again, but we're not practicing them. We're learning them, we're losing it. And it doesn't have to happen that way. When we practice what we're learning, that is what ultimately helps it to stick. And why is this important for consistency? Well, even though there are some who are learning a language for the purpose of being able to read literature in that language, just for the appreciation of the language, but I would venture to say that most of us want to communicate with people. Language is designed for communication. And so since most of us are learning a language to be able to speak it, when we don't speak it with real people, we can start to lose motivation. When we don't see other faces, when we're not connecting with humans in a natural way, it can start to feel very artificial. And well, of course, AI and all kinds of other technology has been very helpful in giving us some extra tools that we can use when we are studying on our own, and that is fantastic. We can speak to smart robots who can reply to us. We can do online courses where we can hear the audio. There are so many videos. This is a wonderful tool so that we don't constantly have to be with other people to practice our language. That is a huge advantage of language learning nowadays, but it's also a disadvantage because the human aspect is starting to become removed, and people are starting to become frustrated because they have all of these tools at their fingertip, but something's just missing to keep them consistent. And often it is just this human factor. This could be other humans who are learning the language with you, and it definitely needs to be other humans that speak your target language that you can form actual connections with. But there's one more item, and it's very important. Support, guidance, and accountability. Things will come up. You will get frustrated. You will not know what your next step should be. You will not know how to connect action steps to your clear goal. You will become overwhelmed sometimes. You may become fearful. You may not be able to clearly see your progress. So many things can come up that are not even related to the actual mechanics of the language. And these are often those elements that stop a learner in his or her tracks and prevent them from moving forward. So having that support that you need, guidance from someone who's done it before, from someone who's been in your shoes, and also the accountability so that you actually know that we're going to be asking you, right, how you're doing, how it's going, if something's going wrong. The accountability aspect to eliminate the excuses, because you know that you have someone who is waiting for you to produce results. This is a key element to success. So you could have taken the time to create your plan and your action steps, and you can have these frequent speaking opportunities. You may be surrounded by Spanish speakers, but if you don't have anyone pushing you, if you don't have any guidance, if you don't have anyone to answer your questions when things get hard, this inevitably leads to procrastination. What if you have support and guidance and you have that goal, okay? So you're working on your own and you're getting your questions answered, but you're actually just not practicing your Spanish. This is going to lead to a lot of head knowledge, great, but no fluency. Okay, we have to practice. We have to speak in order to become proficient speakers. And then if we have someone, guiding us and keeping us accountable, and we have people to speak to, but we're not building out any specific types of conversations, we're kind of just winging it. We'll learn eventually, but this leads to a lack of direction, and a lack of direction, not having a clear study plan, not having a clear set of action steps, makes it very hard to see progress. We don't want any of these situations. So our goal is to be right here in the middle with all three elements working together. This is the Spanish Study Plan Success Blueprint. This study plan is one of the elements. It's one of the keys to success for you to start to increase your speaking confidence. If you would like to know more about this and how it all works together, I invite you to register for my free training at ericaraylanguage.com/90 days. You'll be amazed with the proper tools in place and the proper support in place, how your speaking confidence, how your conversational abilities can skyrocket in just 90 days. I'll show you how in that free training. Again, ericaraylanguage.com/90 days. Until next time, guys, don't forget to go out and live a new experience with your new language today. Hasta la próxima, amigos.